the ANC's January 8th statement presented by President Cyril Ramaphosa hit out strongly at ANC members intent on sabotaging the party's renewal program. He emphasized the ANC would implement measures contained in the state capture inquiry report. However, political analyst Mpumelelo Mkhabela has imagined the speech that was not made on Saturday, reflecting on the challenges the ANC is facing. And he joins us now to discuss this further. A very good morning to Mpumelelo. Thank you so much for your time. Let's start off with the speech. You were looking for a truthful and honest speech. Is that what you received? Is that what you feel you got from the president of the ANC yesterday?
Good morning. Yeah, well, there were some aspects of the speech which I thought were quite relevant to the issues we're facing as a country and the issues that the ANC as an organization is facing. So in terms of the structure and the items that were discussed in that speech, yes, he touched on all the points. But in terms of the substance of the speech, there was some half-heartedness in terms of addressing the real issues.
Yeah, and some of those issues, and you penned it prior to the speech, some of them is what you deemed the betrayal of the ANC on its people. Do you feel like he substantiated enough on that point?
No, he didn't. He was not honest on that one, because I felt like, being in Limpopo, he should be honest with the issues that the people of Limpopo are facing. And some of them are quite like recent issues that have been in the headlines. Somebody was recently mauled by crocodiles while trying to access water in a river because the government has failed to deliver water, piped water to communities in Limpopo. He should have said something about that. About 4 ANC members who were also members of the South African Municipal Workers Union, SAMU, were killed, assassinated, because they spoke the truth about what happened at VBS. They were in the forefront of trying to block municipal monies being used to fund the shortfalls that VBS were experiencing, monies which we all know now were eventually channeled to some ANC comrades. So those are the things that people in Limpopo are talking about. People in the Vembe region are disheartened about what happened to their bank, the bank that they trusted. The president should have apologized. He didn't do that. I feel like the ANC is struggling to move away from its traditional or ancient way of doing things. They organize, for example, lectures on Lillian Ngoyi, on Peter Mokaba. Of course, these are stalwarts of the ANC. They deserve to be honored. But however, would these stalwarts themselves not be concerned about what happened at VBS or what's happening with the lack of piped water in rural communities in Limpopo? We know there was a big scheme in Limpopo to deliver water in places like Guyana and others. Money was looted there. The president should have said something about that. So if we talk about having to deal with corruption, but you're not telling the people in Limpopo the immediate concerns that they face just now on corruption, then it doesn't sound like you are honest enough with the people.
Yeah, you know, the ANC or the president spoke a lot about renewal. Yesterday, that was the big part of his speech was that, you know, the ANC is in a space of renewal. But just the previous day, he was saying, but the ANC isn't in decline. The ANC is strong. So it seems like there's some papering over cracks that's happening here. Is the ANC honest with itself at the moment?
Well, there is no agreement within the ANC, first of all, about what actually is the problem in the ANC. The public, we ordinary South Africans can see what the problem is. I mean, we know that the problem is corruption. We know that people are self-serving in the ANC. We know that people are there to serve their own interests, their families, friends, comrades, you know. And we can actually see it, you know, happening in practice. We know that people in government are deployed for all manner of reasons, but for the service to the people. Now, but the ANC in itself, there's no conception or common understanding of what actually is the problem. So some people think all of those things that I've just mentioned now are normal. Now, if they are being attacked or they are being investigated, it becomes like, oh, now I'm being politically persecuted. So for the ANC to undergo a genuine renewal, first of all, there must be a common understanding among its members and leaders of what actually is the problem. Then they can move on to say what actually is, even in the solution stage, they should agree what now is the solution and what needs to be done about it. Now, they rely on, they have to rely now on the state capture report to say, okay, the state capture report has now helped us to find out what is our problem. But even so, there is no acceptance, common acceptance in terms of the analysis of the state capture report, at least the first part. And there's no doubt that even in the next two parts that are remaining that have to be submitted by Zondo, Judge Zondo, there will be disagreements in the ANC. And there will be disagreements in terms of implementation of this report. We've already seen Gwede Mantashe, for example, saying, yeah, well, this report must not be used to target certain individuals. It's already setting a context. It's setting a background whereby when some people are investigated or removed from certain positions because they are implicated, they can say, well, I'm being targeted because so-and-so is not being investigated. So there is no common understanding and there's no common perspective of what needs to be done. So the program that the president talks about of renewal that they have to roll out, quite frankly, it will also be an issue about what is this program, what does it entail. So I don't see the ANC getting out of this quagmire quite soon, quite frankly.
Let's quickly just focus on what the president did say about the State Capture Commission report. He said that he'll put in place, or the ANC will put in place mechanisms to process any parts of the commission report that pertain to the organization, its deployees, or its members. Now, my question to you is that there are NEC members currently who are sitting in the NEC who are likely to be to have adverse findings against them in the specifically in the final report. Do you believe that, and you've sort of alluded to it, but do you believe that there will be any real processing, as the president says?
Well, let's start with the cabinet of the president himself. There are ministers, deputy ministers, and people that are within his powers to appoint and dismiss. Some of these people were implicated in during the hearings, the Zondo hearings. Now, has he done anything about that? No, he has not done anything about that. What stops him from doing that? Nothing stops him from doing that. The constitution of the country says the president has got a prerogative to appoint cabinet ministers, deputy ministers, and he can dismiss them at any time. Now, evidence was led in the Zonda Commission that point to certain individuals that are within the purview of his power to appoint and dismiss. And he has not done anything about that. So it makes it difficult for people to believe what he says if he has the power to act on things now and he has not acted on them. So in any way, that's actually the problem of the ANC. They're very big on rhetoric, but when it comes to action, they're very scant in that regard.
I mean, this speech, the address yesterday, the president mentioned that it took 15 drafts. In my mind, that means that the ANC are struggling to perhaps speak with one voice, or the NEC in particular. We know factionalism is up at the moment, if I can put it in that way. Do you believe that that indeed was the case, or was it just a matter of trying to get this address as perfect as possible?
Look, there was a bit of honesty in that regard about what he said, that he does expect that there will be resistance. And although he didn't expand on that resistance, but we know where the resistance will come from. The resistance will come from people that will obviously turn around this whole thing and make it a political question, that they are being purged politically. It has got nothing to do with corruption. And the reason why that happens is that people in the ANC know each other. They know who has done what corruption, including things that were not revealed at Zondo. So now when he now tries to act on Zondo Commission, or when the ANC tries to act on Zondo Commission, others are going to say, no, but Comrade so-and-so has not been touched. Why has he been left? So, and that's the danger of allowing corruption to be so rooted that when you try to uproot it, you experience a situation where you can't get rid of all of the roots. And people complain that, no, but why are you leaving others behind? And this thing is so entrenched. So it will take time, and we might not even have arrived at the point where all of the elements of corruption are removed because of the resistance that he mentioned. So what form will this resistance take? It might take legal methods. People might review the report. They might challenge these things in court. It might take political forms where people mobilize within the ANC to get elected. So for me, if the ANC was really ready for renewal, they would adopt a resolution that says, you know, all members, all leaders implicated in state capture report, step aside from all your positions in the party, and secondly, step aside from all your positions in government. The other thing that needs to happen, I think, is that the ANC needs to start expelling people that are corrupt. The president spoke strongly about, yeah, the ANC, this ANC is not for the corrupt people. We must shut the door on people that are coming in just for the sake of stealing public money. Well, the ANC must now start expelling people for having stolen public money. It has never happened. As a matter of fact, the only two high-profile people that were expelled was, you remember, Bantu Holomisa. He was expelled many years ago and he went on to form the UDF. He was expelled precisely for speaking against corruption, against a cabinet minister. Julius Malema was expelled from the ANC because he differed politically with Jacob Zuma and other people in the party. There has been no expulsion from the ANC for stealing public resources. That has to happen. Then we can believe the president's statements.
Thank you for your time this morning. Political analyst Mpumelelo Mkhabela, they're giving us the latest and his views on the Jan 8 statement by the ANC's president, President Cyril Ramaphosa.